This question comes from Marco, who asks, what if we lived on a tidally locked planet?
At first, it might sound like science fiction, but the implications are both fascinating and terrifying.
A tidally locked planet is one that always shows the same face to its star, just like the moon does to Earth. That means one side of the planet is in perpetual daylight, while the other is in eternal night. There's no sunrise or sunset in the traditional sense, and the concept of day and night as we know it disappears. The first thing you'd notice is the climate. The day side would be scorching, with temperatures high enough to melt metals in some scenarios. Meanwhile, the night side would be freezing, with temperatures dropping so low that gases might condense into solids.
Living anywhere near the poles would be extremely challenging due to extreme weather patterns caused by the stark temperature differences.
Atmospheric dynamics would be wild. Air from the hot side would rush to the cold side, creating ferocious winds that could reach hundreds of kilometers per hour.
Storm systems might be permanent features, circling the planet like massive hurricanes, and predicting weather would be nearly impossible. No wonder scientists often imagine tidally locked planets as extreme and inhospitable worlds.
But there is a potential sweet spot, the twilight zone between the day and night sides. In this region, temperatures might be moderate, and the planet could support liquid water. This is where life might survive, if the planet had an atmosphere thick enough to distribute heat. Civilization, if it ever arose, would be concentrated in these narrow, habitable bands.
The sky would look strange, too. On the day side, the star would hang motionless in the sky, never rising or setting. Shadows would remain fixed, and the concept of a rotating day would be alien.
On the night side, you'd live in perpetual darkness, with only the faint light of distant stars, no sunlight at all. Auroras could be spectacular near the boundary zones if the planet had a magnetic field.
The planet's orbit and rotation would create unusual effects on biology and human psychology. Without a normal day-night cycle, circadian rhythms might be disrupted, making it hard for humans to sleep or regulate hormones.
Plants would have to adapt to constant light on one side or complete darkness on the other. Photosynthesis might only occur in the twilight zones, and life forms could evolve entirely new strategies to cope with the extreme conditions. Transportation and infrastructure would also be affected. Wind speeds and temperature extremes would make construction outside the twilight zones extremely difficult. Cities might be concentrated along the terminator line, the boundary between day and night, where conditions are more stable. Energy sources could also be tricky. Solar power would be constant on the day side, but nearly impossible on the night side, requiring innovative solutions. If humans tried to colonize the planet, agriculture would be a major challenge. Crops on the day side could scorch under constant sunlight, while the night side would require artificial heating just to survive.
Greenhouses in the twilight zones might become the only viable solution, using controlled environments to stabilize temperature and light. Water management would be critical, as the constant sun could evaporate surface water on the hot side, while it might freeze permanently on the cold side.
Life on a tidally locked planet would change our perception of time and space. Without a moving sun, calendars, clocks, and daily routines would feel alien.
The horizon would always look the same from any fixed point, and celestial navigation would depend on stars rather than the sun. Culture, mythology, and art would evolve around an unchanging sky.
There's also the question of long-term survival. If the planet's atmosphere could redistribute heat effectively, life might thrive in the twilight zones for millennia. But if winds or storms were too violent, or if the temperature extremes were too harsh, large-scale civilization might never develop. In other words, a tidally locked planet is both a paradise and a prison, habitable only in a narrow, fragile band. So if humans lived on a tidally locked planet, our entire understanding of day, night, and life itself would be different. We'd adapt to permanent light or darkness, build cities along twilight zones, and learn to survive in an environment defined by extremes.
It's a strange, beautiful, and dangerous world, one where survival is a delicate balance between fire and ice.